Chapter 1. The signal. It's been a few days with no contact. Where the hell could he be? Commander Xavier James Jr., lying on his bed, begins thinking to himself. Jack usually responds every couple of days. Xavier says, Sam. Sam responds, yes? Xavier asks, what time is it? Any messages from Jack? Sam replies, the time is 8 a.m., Earth Eastern Standard. No new messages to report, Commander. It's been a week now since Jack's been gone. I guess I better get up. Sam? Yes, Commander? Can you start my morning routine? As you wish, Sam says. The lights begin to brighten, and a little bit of music starts playing. It's jazz this morning. I usually listen to everything, but today, I just need to clear my head. There's a lot on my mind. Why hasn't Jack responded? He knows what kind of mess we're in. Jack, what have you gotten yourself into this time? Why didn't you leave me any clues? I get in the shower. The water feels nice, not too hot, not too cold, and I begin humming along to the music. I can't wait for breakfast. Eggs, some bacon, and coffee. Oh yeah, definitely some coffee. French vanilla creamer, maybe an espresso. I can taste it now. Just then, I hear beeping, and Sam's voice comes over the intercom. Commander, urgent. Priority level 5. Fuck. What now? I respond. I haven't even had my coffee. This honestly couldn't have waited until then. Sam says, I'm sorry, I know. I sigh. Go ahead, Sam. Patch it through. Commander? Yeah, go ahead, I say. Amanda's voice comes through. Xavier, this better be good. I grumble. I haven't even had my coffee yet. Amanda replies, you're going to want to get up to the bridge ASAP. And you may want to bring some extra underwear. What the hell are you talking about? I ask. We just received a subspace distress signal, Amanda says. So? We hear those all the time, I reply. Yeah. But this is no ordinary distress signal. It's Jack's. Amanda, Commander, you there? Xavier responds. Yeah. He turns off the water, trying to catch his breath. What have you been up to, Jack? You wouldn't activate your distress signal unless it was life or death. I know you too well, Xavier says. Amanda, tell Helm to head toward the signal immediately. Commander, we're already on a direct course to the signal. Xavier pauses. What? Who ordered it? That's the thing, Amanda replies. It was automatic. Sam's been trying to override the commands, but nothing is responding. This is even too complex for Sam. However, everything else is functioning normally. We just don't have any control over our course or direction. Xavier. Fuck. Commander, you might want to get up here, Amanda says. Maybe to reassure the crew that we're not going to die. Or, I don't know, say something like we're not going to be blown up into a million pieces or something. We've all seen science fiction movies before. She begins to nervously laugh. This is even freaking her out. Yeah. I'll be right up, Xavier replies. I get dressed, throwing on a standard uniform, something casual to move around in. I put on my shoes and begin wondering, what the hell could have happened to Jack? That distress signal is for life or death scenarios. You designed it, Jack, so only the ship's scanners could pick it up. Xavier exhales. Also, how the hell is the ship piloting itself to the signal? Something's up. I swear, there's gonna be hell to pay once I find out who did this. No one just takes over my ship without my command. I get into the elevator. It's pretty large, capable of holding cargo, etc. I press the button marked bridge. The ship is massive, constructed specifically for this mission, SR-1, which stands for Space Reconnaissance 1, or, as the crew has named her, Lightning. She's fast and maneuvers on a dime. Jack would love to fly her, but our main helmsman, Tom Weathers, would never let him lay a finger on the controls. You should have seen Jack's face when he first saw the SR-1. He was like a little kid, mumbling all the specs. Given that she's a prototype, we're still learning all her secrets. Jack probably knows more about her than he's telling. Jack's 37 years old and was born on Valentine's Day in Albany, upstate New York. He suffers from cerebral palsy, quad spastic, I think he said, which affects his legs. It never stopped him from applying to the Air Force. He was declined. Wonder why? But then he was immediately recruited into a government military program. They saw what he could do with so much talent. Not only could he fly just about anything, but the man's mind was also incredible. When he wasn't flying, he was designing and fabricating. They weren't going to let that go to waste. He was an asset and they all knew it. Jack earned every penny they paid him. He even started his own research and development company, OMI, short for Open Mind Industries. It's rumored the private sector is paying his company big money to develop aircraft, spacecraft, body armor, and weapons. But when you look it up, everything is classified. The government denies any involvement with OMI, which is probably best for both parties involved. Jack's main purpose for starting the company was to help those who needed it most. He developed an exospine and an exoskeleton suit that are used in construction and industry, along with a leg device that looks like a tiny knee brace. It helps those who are paralyzed or have CP, MS, and many other conditions, at least that's what they state publicly. His company gives the knee braces and exosuits out for free if you qualify. Considering how little insurance covers these days, of course many people qualify. I can't imagine the profit loss. Jack says it will pay off in the long run. Get it, long run? He always laughs at that. He says it's a good tax write-off. What can I say? He has a weird sense of humor. I mean, you kind of have to when you're dealt the cards he was. All you can do is laugh. We met in high school in English class, I think. Jack was such an asshole. I grew fond of him immediately, and I believe I wasn't much better. We both came from decent homes. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich either. Neither of us really knew what rich meant. Jack's dad worked at an assembly plant for microprocessors, or something like that. My dad was a used car salesman and technician, always working. Like I said, we weren't poor, but rich wasn't in our vocabulary. I remember the first time we both got detention. Jack hacked the teacher's display board so that every time the word "this" appeared in a paragraph, you'd hear a loud fart sound. So, she sat on the fart sound chair. Everyone thought it was hilarious and started laughing uncontrollably. Jack wouldn't have been caught, but he put his initials on the board with the program, along with his call sign. You don't know Jack. As for me, well, things weren't going so well. Dad forgot to pay for my sisters and my lunch balance, so I'd been technically stealing our lunches for the past few months. No one should ever go hungry. Well, tell that to the school. I took the punishment. You'd think we would just be sitting in detention in a classroom. No, they made us clean dishes, mop the floors, and scrub toilets. It was a group of us and we had to do that for 3 weeks. I remember one day we finished up early and the teacher just told us to go home. Jack had to wait for his sister Megan. She had soccer practice, and they always went home together. I had nothing better to do at home, anyway. My sister, Claire, was probably already there, so I decided to take my time walking down the hallway. Graduation was coming up soon. What the hell was I going to do after high school? I didn't know, maybe the military. My dad would always say, it would be good for me. Structure. You need structure, Xavier. I've done the best I can for you and Claire, I hope you understand that. Yes, Dad, we'd both say. I wasn't expecting your mother to just walk out one day. We haven't seen Mom much. She's remarried and wouldn't give us the time of day. Claire found her address and wrote her a Christmas card, which was sent back with a note. Please don't reach out to me again. In our mother's handwriting. Claire was devastated. Why didn't our mother want anything to do with us? We would never get an answer. Holidays were always warm, though. Dad always made sure that even if we didn't get much during birthdays or Christmas, there were at least a few gifts under the tree. Dad's family made sure of that. Grandma ended up moving in not too long ago. Grandpa had passed away, and Dad didn't want her to be alone, especially at her age. Finally, I made it to the door and the side entrance where the soccer field was. As I pushed the door open, I heard a familiar voice. So, what kind of trouble did you get into to get attention? Well, I hacked the main display board in English class, so every time the word that came up in a sentence, it would make a loud fart sound. A soft voice replied with a little giggle. Very immature, it added. It was worth it, I thought, as I heard the other voice say. I walked a little further down the sidewalk and realized the people talking were Jack and my sister, Claire. They were leaning against each other, shoulder to shoulder. I don't know why, but I was instantly enraged and immediately pulled Jack away from her. Claire jumped, trying to comprehend what had just happened. "Xavier, what the hell are you doing?" she shouted as I began punching Jack's face. My fists landed with force, smashing his glasses against his face. Blood started to pour from the cuts his glasses had made. After a minute, someone grabbed me from behind with such force that I went flying backward, knocking the wind out of me. I tried to get up and land a few more hits, but someone jumped in front of me. "Mr. James, what the fuck do you think you're doing?" My face was beet red, and my hands were bloody, my breathing heavy. That asshole was touching my sister. Everyone started looking. I guess I was screaming. I don't remember all the commotion. I finally realized it was a teacher who had stopped me. They said, "It just doesn't give you the right to start punching somebody." I looked up and saw my sister shaking her head with disappointment. "Claire." Xavier," she said, shaking her head. She walked over to Jack, who was lying there, laughing uncontrollably. Blood was pouring from his face. His glasses had cut him pretty deep, but he was still laughing. Claire knelt next to him. "Jack, why are you laughing?" she asked. Jack, spitting up some blood, said aloud, "Your brother hits like a girl," and then began laughing even harder. I tried to run toward him to land a couple more hits, but Claire immediately got up and punched me square in the face. I don't remember much after that. I remember the next morning. I woke up with a pounding headache, and my father was standing in my room. Dad's face was not too happy. He and Jack's dad had been discussing medical bills earlier that morning, the cost of new glasses, and, I'm sure, proper punishment. Dad must have noticed I was awake. "Good, you're awake. You've got plenty to do today. It's a beautiful day. It's Saturday." I had just finished a long chat with Mr. Wesley. 16 stitches. Shaking his head, Dad asked, "Are you proud?" I looked at him. That wasn't a question. It was rhetorical. I didn't answer, which was probably smart. "Well, there goes our vacation fund. Jack needs new glasses, and the medical bills need to be paid." "Yeah, you'd think insurance would cover most of it, but there's a thing called deductibles. $3,600 for the ambulance, the stitches, and the glasses. Defending your sister's honor cost you $3,600. How do you think you're going to pay for that, Xavier?" I sat up in bed, my head pounding. "Goddamn, she can throw a punch." "Damn, sis, didn't know you had it in you." Dad replied, "I know you heard me, Xavier. How are you going to pay that off?" "I don't know, Dad." "Well, the garage needs cleaning. Mr. Wesley also needs his lawn mowed, and there are a few other chores. Do you think that's fair?" Again, he wasn't asking, it was rhetorical. I just nodded. "Good. Xavier, I thought I raised you better. I know life hasn't been easy, and I've done the best I could, but attacking your sister's boyfriend." My eyes shot wide open. "Boyfriend?" My dad looked at me. "Yes, Xavier, he's Claire's boyfriend. They've been dating for some time. I thought you knew. Aren't you supposed to be your sister's protector? Isn't that what big brothers do?" Claire asked him out. Dad continued. "They're going to prom." He began walking toward the doorway, then turned and said, "Don't ruin this for her, Xavier. So help me." Again, it was rhetorical. Dad was furious. I should have known better. I don't know what came over me. Just seeing him sitting next to my sister, shoulder to shoulder, set me off, I guess. Dad was right. Claire was a big girl, and she could take care of herself. My pounding headache was proof of that. But she was my sister, you know? The next few days, I did as Dad asked, organized the attic, cleaned the garage, and went over to the Wesleys. Pretty much rinse and repeat until the debts were paid in full. Man, that was a long month. Surprisingly, Jack didn't rub it in when I came over. I was invited into his family and treated kindly by him and Claire. His dad, a hard-working man like my own, even offered me dinner a few times. It wasn't filet mignon or anything, but it was nice to see him take the time to be with his family, even after a long shift. It was kind of hard to look at Jack, though. His face looked like hell, and it took a few weeks for the swelling to go down. Every time I was caught staring, Claire would give me a look, and Jack would say something smart like, "I still look better than you, princess." We began hanging out after that. I guess that's when I really got to know him. The guy loves his comics and video games, he's a huge geek, and he's obsessed with space. My sister, on the other hand, was terrified of being stuck in an airplane, let alone a spaceship. What if something happens? She would ask Jack. He'd always reply, sometimes you have to take risks, love. Like I said, he was an asshole, but I could see he cared about her, and she adored him. What can I say? They were happy. That's what matters, right? I ended up dating one of Jack's sister's best friends, one of the head cheerleaders. In hindsight, probably not the best decision. Oh, Jack. Why didn't you warn me? I mean, I'm sure you did, but I didn't listen. The divorce was horrible. I don't know what Claire saw in Jack, but who was I to question it? After all, I was the one who got divorced. They dated on and off for quite some time after high school. Like I mentioned, Jack was planning to apply for the Air Force, which took a lot of time and studying. The guy was smart, no doubt, and could definitely fly, but because of his disability, they didn't pass him. He was devastated, and who could blame him? I was at a bit of a loss myself. I worked a lot of odd jobs, car salesman, you name it. Maybe the military was worth looking into. That's when Jack got an offer from the government private sector. Jack knew I needed a job and recommended me. A few days later, I was being interviewed and put through physical training. 2 months after that, I found myself sitting shotgun next to Jack, heading to a planet called Echo 1. Sam. Commander, you're needed on the bridge. Xavier. Oh, what? Amanda stood next to Tom and some of the engineering crew. Are you okay, Commander? She asked. Xavier. Yeah, I was having a bit of a flashback. What the hell's going on? Amanda. Well, we're about to find out. Somebody programmed this, and it sure wasn't one of us. Sam's been trying to sever the connection, but it's no good. Xavier. Sam, update. Sam. I've done all I can. This encryption is tough to crack. It could take me weeks. Xavier. Sam. We don't have that long. Sam. I know, Commander. Xavier. So, where's it taking us? At that moment, the ship stopped. Scanners started going off. Scanner. Ship detected. Distress beacon found. Everyone looked out the viewport windows and at the monitors. Holy fucking shit, is that? Someone muttered. There's no fucking way, another voice said. Amanda's face turned to shock. It is. Xavier exhaled. It's the Archangel. Author notes, thank you, everybody, for reading. I look forward to updating. I work quite a bit. This is just something I've been wanting to write. I hope you guys enjoy it. The story gets pretty deep. This is the first chapter. I haven't written for a few years. I apologize for my grammar mistakes. It's been a while. I've had the story in my head for quite a while. You'll probably get a little bit of Mass Effect, Titanfall, Star Trek vibes. Also, I want to recommend another author, Amanda Panda. She inspired me to write the Titan Protocol. Check out her book here on Wattpad titled Learning to Love, Learning to Love. My name is Rose. At least that's what I've always been called in school, at least for the last 2 years that I've been able to attend anyways. One night, I'm found by the police and taken to the hospital. After learning where I was taken, I ran. I couldn't possibly ever be loved by anyone. I was just a mistake, an accident. Wasn't supposed to live past my first birthday, and the fact that I had made it until I turned 12. At least I think that's how old I am was the greatest accomplishment of all, right?